part of the work that you've done might already be under credit protection. You're not getting paid yet for that. So the work you're doing now, are you going to get paid? I was assured that contractors who are doing work right now are getting paid from that point of credit protection onward, and will continue to be paid. That was the answer I got on that, because I thought that would be one thing that people wanted to hear tonight. The second thing was, I said, well, what realistically are the chances over the next year, next 2 years, that our two Abitibi Bow-Waters are still going to be Abitibi Bow-Waters and they're still going to be operating? Because lots of people are talking about that, lots of rumors, lots of talk. And he told me, listen, this hog boiler you've got there in Fort Frances is a really good plus in Abitibi Bow-Waters' favor in Fort Frances. Because it's there and because it'll be functioning, it'll be way up on the list of properties that will be protected. He couldn't give me any guarantees, he told me. But he said that's right. And then he said, furthermore, with Thunder Bay, they've got a big condenser unit about to go in. They can't afford to put it in. They've got the condenser unit. They haven't got it in. And he said, John, quite frankly, if you can convince Mr. McGuinty to follow through with the money to get that condenser put in, that's also going to be good for Abitibi Bow-Water and Thunder Bay and keeping that plant running. I know that's not a guarantee, but he said he wanted to be sure that I told everyone who came to these meetings that those are the two main factors in those two particular mills. So then I said, okay, what is the schedule now of credit protection? When are you going to have your plan before the banks so it can be considered? And he said, we hope to have that within 2 months, in front of the courts, to be sorted out and to get our plan going. And I said, okay. And I said, now there are lots of contractors who haven't been paid, whose checks bounced because they got them just shortly after, for example, the credit protection date. So what's going to happen to them? What's the timeline on those contractors, those small businesses, the ones I'm meeting with tonight and tomorrow night? What are the chances, or when are they going to get paid? And he said, well, on the outside, he said 12 to 16 months. That's how long the process is going to take. That sounded like an awful long time to me, but I understand that in the credit protection business, that's actually creditor protection business. That's actually not a bad length of time. He has no idea how it's going to fall out, how much is going to be paid, or anything. But he said that's sort of the timeline that we're looking at. So those are the answers I got from Abitibi Bow-Water in Montreal.
These are really tough stories to be hearing, and all across the country, this is what we're hearing throughout northern Ontario, where so many communities dependent on the forestry sector are finding that the crisis is leaving their small businesses, leaving their working lives in shreds, and I've got to tell you, John Rafferty and our team from Northern Ontario have been raising these issues in the House, but we decided as a caucus that we had to get back out in the community and hear from you directly precisely what's going on. And the last speaker, just went through the details of the calculations he made, and boy, that's just an enormous impact. And I know also that the small businesses who in many cases are being left high and dry, having delivered product, they're owed money, they've delivered services, they're owed money, and with the way in which this is unfolding, that's at risk. And what they need is access to some protected credit, but our federal government, the Conservatives don't seem to understand what a small business is in terms of how they've defined the size of credit that you have to have in order to get access to the money.
These mills are viable. These mills were profit centers only months ago. If there's any type of a loan guarantee, even equivalent to that amount, don't even give them the money. Just guarantee the loans for those amount of money. And if the economy again corrects itself, and it will, moving forward, both those mills are viable and can operate once again and succeed and be a critical heartbeat for Northern Ontario. There's a number of other deficiencies too that you've identified as well, and we see this as we go through it. And one of the pensioners that's here, I'm not sure if he's affected, is going to lose some of his pension, but this whole question about pension underfunding, the whole question about the structure of the legislation that allows companies to take contribution holidays and not contribute to the plans and then end up running into a deficit situation. At Marathon, for example, we're likely to see pensioners. There is some government protection if the government chooses provincially to continue to fund that fund, and they're suggesting that they're not going to do that, is that they're going to get 75 cents on the dollar, basically, after a certain minimum threshold. That's what has to be done. It's not just about correcting, finding a way to correct that particular system and make sure those funds are funded in a way that they're not going to get into those particular types of circumstances.
I do appreciate that everybody out there and deserves their pension money. We all agree with that. Money is money. And when you work for that money, you deserve to get paid. Right now what's going on out there is there's numerous contractors and they're not small businesses. The average truck right now is $250,000 to buy. It's a franchise, just to invest, to get into work. So when you go and invest in your future and buy a job and then employ people, and you're charged whatever, say it's $30 on EI, you have to remit to the government 1.4% every month. CPP is topped up by double if you own a business. When the tap is turned off to the small businesses, you get nothing. You are not entitled to EI. There is no money coming in. $5,000 month payments cannot be made. First thing to go is going to be your equipment. After that, then they're going to take the houses. There's no security out there. Right now there's numerous liens on wood in our area. This has to be addressed. The people of Ontario have to know how important this is. If this wood gets overturned and someone comes in and takes this wood from the contractors out there and it's based on the wages. This act was put in place to protect the contractors. It's based on wages. So if you did not get paid for a job done, you can go to the Ministry of Labor. This act is being stepped up. There's numerous contractors in the area saying, this is our wood. We have all the expenses to go towards this. And I'm not talking $10,000. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of fuel is being put in. These contractors have to pay this money, but have not received any money.
There needs to be a code of ethics applied to the politicians that are there elected to represent our interests that don't. And we know exactly who they are. There's been a strategy advanced by the CEP. I know I was involved in that strategy in the forest industry. It is a successful strategy that will employ people throughout Canada, Northwestern Ontario, by making sure that the natural resources come home to the communities where these resources belong. I don't want to get up and give a long-winded speech here tonight, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy with politicians that are taking money out of our pockets. At the same time, they're doing nothing but giving that money to the corporations at the cost of hurting you and everybody within these communities in this district. You take a look at all the business people in this community that are hurt. They're hurting just like the rest of us. When Abitibi, if they do go bankrupt, there's going to be a lot of bankruptcies. And the part about it is it's a damn shame when these companies have obfuscated upon their costs, upon their workers, and upon the people in this country. They basically pillaged and raped us as far as I'm concerned, and I'm very upset about this. The solution is clear. We need people to stand up and tell people like John, we need corrections. Maybe those solutions need to be embedded in longer language. But you know what I mean, John. But I'm asking you to bring that forward. Thank you.